Hello, my name is Fodhla and I'm a lecturer at Ulster University Business School. Looking after our people and planet is everyone's responsibility, including all businesses. Now, some businesses specialise in that, in looking after people, planet and of course profit to keep going. We invited some of those businesses onto campus over the past couple of months to share their stories. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Sarah Fearon of Stonelough Consultancy and Julie Hoey of Lisburn's first refill store and cafe called Sonas. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today. Would you explain a little bit about who you are and your business?
Absolutely. So my name is Sarah Fearon and thank you for the lovely introduction. Owner of Stonelough Consultancy. So the best way to imagine what I do, which is social value, is if you imagine a room full of young people with additional needs from one of the most deprived areas in Northern Ireland, and they're fully engaged in a hands-on careers workshop designing equipment for a play park. And at the end of that session, an 8-year-old boy runs to the front of the room and says, "This is the best day of my life and I want to be an engineer." So within just a few hours, that 8-year-old boy found hope. He found purpose and a future that he didn't think was ever possible. So really, it's about giving those who are underrepresented from disadvantaged backgrounds really an opportunity to see that they have so much available to them that they maybe just didn't know about in the first place, in terms of careers. So we deliver a wide range of workshops and getting those in furthest removed into employment. So it's very much people focused and making sure that we make a positive impact and leave a legacy in local communities in which we're working. And how that really works, Fodhla, is that I am brought in through various contractors or organisations who are delivering public sector jobs. So for instance, I'm working on Belfast Grand Central Station. That's one of them, and that allows me to link in with the local community and the schools. And recently we had a fantastic event and it focused on cultural diversity and it was amazing. And we had 2 local primary schools, St Joseph's and St Mary's, quite very local actually to the site itself. And it was just fantastic. It involved cultural dress, getting in caterers who are micro enterprises, looking at their careers and how diverse it was, and also involved TransLink's cultural network and their journey to Northern Ireland and how they've ended up in the career that they're in, that there's limited possibilities. So I suppose I very much people focused. Social value also does incorporate environmental sustainability, and how we could link that into the people as well is looking at going out to schools and local community groups and delivering environmental initiatives and what they could do and how they could benefit from them as well, and also on site and what environmental initiatives are being used, because we have to be very much aware that that impacts our health and well-being, the environment around us. So I suppose there's so many different elements to it. It's so diverse, but really it's linking into those most in need and within the immediate area of where the work is taking place.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Sarah. Sarah mentioned a lot there about impact, Julie, and you're having a massive impact in Lisburn City Centre. Tell us a little bit about your work there.
Well, thanks, Fodhla. It's a great opportunity to be here and great to hear to what you've been doing, Sarah. We are Sonas, which is Irish for happiness, and we are a cooperative that operates a refill store, cafe and event space in the heart of Lisburn, right in the heart beside the Linen Museum. Lisburn's an amazing city with so much of a legacy of history, of linen, of so many leaders and so many ways in which we've contributed to the world. We've got Sir Richard Wallace, who has left us a great legacy in our city, and we wanted to bring a shop unit back into use in the heart of the city centre and provide a space for a community grocer and cafe and event space, and that's what we've done, and we've been operating now for a year, and that's been just so exciting and so good. We're passionate about good food. We believe in people and connection, and most people connect over good food. It doesn't have to be brilliant food, just good food. And we're really passionate too about reducing our dependence on single-use packaging. We know that it disturbs people, the amount of plastic packaging that they have to dispose of after they've eaten food, and we want to show a better way. We provide a wide range of foods in our store, which are both organic and conventionally grown. Many of them are local or come from local companies like Buchanan's and Carrickfergus, and we all know our soup mixes and our pearl barley and things like that. We speedy cook oats from Whites in Armagh, but we also sell organic options that you can't get anywhere else in Lisburn, and indeed not many other places in Northern Ireland. And we allow you to buy just what you need. So you don't need to buy lots. If you need 50 grams, you can buy 50 grams. If you need 20 grams, you can buy 20 grams. And that makes good food affordable. It makes it accessible. And it reduces the amount of waste that's related to that, both the waste of the plastic and the packaging, but also the waste of food that goes off at home that you can't use. So we're just really excited about demonstrating the potential on your budget for being able to buy better food, but buying just what you need. The potential on the variety of your diet. We love telling people the story behind food, because we believe that when people know the stories and the faces behind the food, that enriches their experience. It makes them more likely to buy local. But when they're buying local, they're supporting local employment, they're supporting local product development, they're supporting the growth of small businesses, and they're also just reducing the amount of impact on the environment. You know, we want to amplify what's good about Lisburn and tell a better story about our city. I think we're doing that. We believe in food from scratch, food made with love, and also we're creating something distinctive. We believe that it's really important to offer something that is of its place and can't be bought elsewhere.
So that's another aspect of your work, Julie, is that, like Sarah's, is that very much that community feel. And very often you'll see Julie sitting in there in the window and greeting her customers by name, because it really has become a community and, you know, a place where you feel very welcome and belonging. So maybe just on the subject of belonging, you know, we've been talking for years at university about EDI, equality, diversity and inclusion. But now we actually look at this whole area of belonging. So it's not only being invited to the dance, it's being invited to dance. So Julie, tell us your understanding of belonging and the work that you do in that area.
I guess we can belong wherever we are, but I do want to create a sense of a space in a place. So we are in the heart of Lisburn. We have that legacy of linen, that legacy of people's memories of gathering around the Christmas tree, of events held in the city centre. Our very premises, we have a picture from 1910 of a grocer standing with his arms crossed with his apron, which is very inspirational and very much part of the story of our business. But we want people to feel like it's off the place. So we've lots of linen and natural materials. We've reused lots of things from local people, like an old kitchen, which we came from a house out the road, and we've used Habitat Restore, another amazing business that is creating use out of people's stuff that they can no longer use themselves, but they're passing it on to others. So it's been important for us to have that sense of place. So that when we invite people into our space, that they can feel at home. So we have books, we have free Wi-Fi, we have a lovely accessible loo, we have a sense of welcoming. We are breastfeeding supporters. We are people who encourage folk to sit and rest a while. We have volunteers. We have lots of volunteers, and they may come to us because they've been out of work for a while, maybe because they've been unwell and they just need a chance to find their way back into the workplace so that they can go back to their paid employment. We have other people who've retired and say, I don't know anyone in my community because I commuted out of here. I'd like to get to know some more people. And we have young people who volunteer with us because they find it hard to get away from their screens, and it's a really good opportunity for them to come and interact with people and be with a staff team who really nurture them and develop them. So we're all about saying this is your space, and we're not just about our space either. We're about getting people to belong in their city centre. So we're encouraging people to come into cultural events in the city centre, to go to the library, to use our local shops. We are well known for promoting other local shops and what they're offering, because we really care about that, and we really care, and we believe that when we speak well of one another, that we create a sense of well-being in our city and our community.
Absolutely, and I love what you have said there. It's about creating that space for people to come and they really feel like they belong, they are a community, and that really resonates and completely aligns with social value in what we do, and particularly, you know, in construction projects, we're bringing the community along on a journey. So we are, you know, and that's why we're so embedded in the local community, from schools through to colleges, even the universities. We've worked with yourselves, Fodhla. You know, there's so much involvement in making sure that everybody feels part of the project. And that works so well, because whenever these developments open, then everybody feels so welcome. They've come along this fantastic journey. They've been a part of the project. And, you know, that makes all the difference, as opposed to a project that maybe has just opened the doors and said, here we are, and we haven't engaged with the local community, you know, and there's been no involvement. And I think it's really important, whether there's a commitment or not, if it's not a public sector contract, that you do look at that and say, there's real benefit in delivering this for the community, and the hype that even it has around it, and you know, that real sense of ownership of that space is so important. So definitely really resonate with what you're saying there.
And just listening to you, I must say, with our new campus on York Street in Belfast, we've sort of generated that excitement as well. It's lovely to walk through the ground floor of one of our buildings and seeing people just walking through it for a shortcut, or for to have a look at the student shop, or to grab some food or whatever. You know, there is that, like, you can see the whole skyline of this part of Belfast has completely changed with amazing, very luxurious accommodation for the students. Loads of little businesses popping up now to support that massive student population that's come in. And then all of the local people from this area benefiting from that investment, and, you know, the addition of colour really to this area. So I must say, it does really add a bit of life and a bit of colour. So I know we all love a story, and I know that you both have stories in relation to how you got to this point today. And I'd love to start off with you Julie, if you tell us your story about yourself.
Absolutely. So I moved to live in Lisburn about 8-9 years ago from Scotland, and I grew up in Northern Ireland, and Lisburn is one of those places that captivated me in many ways, because I could see that the high street was still there. There were still independent businesses. There were people committed to providing services for the people of Lisburn. And I guess I got involved with the Chamber of Commerce and also with the council and with other bodies in the city, just thinking about how do we create or help the city to flourish. I live in the city centre, so being able to walk around the city centre was important to me. And obviously during COVID, our experience of walking around our spaces and places was magnified. We have beautiful nature, we have amazing heritage and history and culture. We've got lovely parks and amazing amenities so close by. And I guess I felt like there's so many things that we see that we want, that we know can be better, or we know that there's a need there, and it's quite easy to talk about those things and do nothing. But actually, it's really important to take action about the things that you care about. And over a period of those years, I came to the conclusion that actually I did want to put something into the community that was in some ways a demonstration of my commitment to Lisburn, my commitment to local commerce and retail, but also a commitment to creating connection, really influenced by the fact that loneliness is every bit as dangerous as smoking and too much alcohol. Loneliness and a lack of connection is really making us sick. And we need to find ways of being in the public square again. We need to find reasons to be there. We can all sit at home and buy everything we need from home, but something's missing in all of that. There's a whole load of things we could say about that, but essentially something is missing there. And we know that there are benefits from talking to people that we'll never talk to again, or that we only talk to when we buy our food or buy a newspaper or whatever. And we wanted to create something of that, and we wanted to give Lisburn something different, a shop that sells local food, a shop that is about creating an opportunity for people to try new foods, and we are concerned about allowing people to taste new things, because we believe that that's just the food of life. It's a really important thing, how we eat and how we sustain ourselves, and we just feel like that was really important. So I guess we wanted to set up a cooperative business, because cooperative businesses are different. They are about profit, but they're about the people and the planet as well, and they're profit with a purpose. So yeah, I just wanted to be part of that, and that's we're a cooperative. We have directors, and we make decisions together, and we invest what we make in our business back into our business for the good of the business and for the good of the community. And that was really important to me, and that's why we did it.
And you don't get to do this 24/7, isn't that right, Julie? You've got another job?
I've got another job, yes. I still work in my old job, which is working in policy and government, which I really enjoy. And it's a really lovely balance to what I actually do in the shop. And it brings alive what I do in the shop in the same way as the shop brings alive what I do in government. I think it's really, really helpful, and so helpful for people who work in government to understand the needs of business people. Yes. So yeah, I really feel it's been a gain.
As well as being, of course, a mother and a wife.
Indeed, yeah, and a few other things. That's right.
So thank you, Julie. I think you the great thing about the food in the shop is it gives you the energy to,
there's always something to snack on.
Yeah, absolutely. And over to you, Sarah, your story.
Yes, absolutely. So mine's a little bit different to Julie. So it is. So my background was in communication, advertising and marketing. But I was always drawn to the construction industry. It had a calling for me one way or another. And that's where I was going to end up. So I went and I had done my placement year at university, construction industry. And then whenever I came out, I joined Fearon's Construction. And I stayed there for almost 6 years, and I was delivering social value and managing it as well for buildings contracts right across the UK and Ireland. And it was absolutely fantastic. It was so diverse. But my very first project is the one that always sticks with me. And that was South Lake Leisure Centre. And it was in Craigavon, 20 minutes down the road at the start whenever I came out. This is fantastic. I just zoom down the road and don't have to travel far. It's brilliant. And then whenever I really got into it, it was, wow, this is my purpose. This is like my calling. I am meant to deliver this. And what I mean by that is, I got to help people every single day. And by going out to those in really underrepresented, areas or disadvantaged backgrounds, and looking at the wide range of demographics of the people that I was linking in with, and really resonated with. We had, believe it or not, we had a lot of crack along the way, you can't be all serious, but in doing that, the impact that it created was absolutely phenomenal. Taking people who are long-term unemployed on a journey through employment programs, getting them, that sustainable employment, which is so important, building up their confidence, and having that whole health and well-being element that links into that. And there's nothing more, I suppose, satisfying than knowing that you have helped somebody along in their journey. So I suppose after, as I say, almost 6 years, and the procurement policy note had come out in June 2022, and I had actually worked in Belfast Grand Central Station with the main works contractor, and we had piloted that because we started the contract earlier in the year than June, and that meant that I got my feet in the ground and was like, oh my goodness, this is fantastic. I'm going to get my teeth sunk into this and see what impact we can really deliver. And it's across the 4 themes. So there was education, employment, and then we looked at environmental sustainability, health and well-being, and supply chain resilience, which really links in well with all what you've been talking about, Julie. In getting micro enterprises on board for a wide range of different services. For the likes of yourself, it would be catering, as well as social enterprises.
I hear a great heart, and that's what they say about those working in the area of social enterprise. They have a great vision for business and the heart of a lion.
Absolutely.
So I think I could say that about you both.
Absolutely.
I think so. Yeah.
I suppose in terms of, so I talked a lot about employment, and that's kind of where my journey started. And then I had delivered that and decided, right, now it's time to go out on my own. And the real thought behind that process was there's so many different organizations that I could, help them make a real impact on people's lives. And for me, it's all about the people. And a bit like what you had said, Julie, as well, we're not in this alone as business owners, because I can certainly say here, hands down, without the community that I had around me, I wouldn't be sitting here today as a proud business owner and saying all of this lovely stuff to you. And particularly, my family have been the biggest supporters ever in doing this. And my granny had said to me, and I suppose before she had passed away, she said, Sarah, you know what you want to do. So, go for it. And I suppose this kind of is why this blouse is on today, because we have butterflies and that's representative of her. So she's with us here today. And then it did take me a little while now, almost 2 years to really take the leap and say, right now. But I didn't do that without a little shove from my mother, who said, Sarah, come on now. And you know what? That's all I needed. I knew this was in my bones and I wanted to do it. And all of this stuff that we've talked about, creating that community impact, bringing people together, making them feel part of something, inspiring them, giving them hope, ambition, and also a future that we mentioned at the start that they never thought was even possible. That's the kind of stuff that lights me up. And I suppose it really takes somebody who's really close to you to kind of give you that little shove sometimes and say, on you go. Now, I kind of felt like when I went out into business, I was in the baptism of fire. Now I've leaped and where do we go? Head first here. But again, I have business mentors and I have fantastic people, and even the likes of yourself, Fodhla, we've always kept in contact and LinkedIn, and you do have people that you can bat off and who will be a sounding board for you. And I think that's for business owners, and whether it's a sole trader, a limited company, no matter what it is, social enterprise, people always worry about, I won't have a team. But you build a team around you. My journey is one of diversity, let's say, and I then also delved in to the whole environmental aspect and sustainability, to bring that in as well. So, and that was with the Institute of Sustainability Studies. So yes, it's been a constant learning curve for me as well, and just being able to bring my experience and learn from others. That's the most important thing.
And that's really, I suppose, one of the secrets behind the Sustainability Socials, is that we wanted to have a chance to bring people inside that we could learn from, because it's really that mutual dance. And I heard last week somebody saying that Northern Ireland is really just a village, you know, and there's no 6 degrees of separation, there's usually 1 or 2. And that's why the business community, it's very tight-knit, and it's a real pleasure to work here, because, you know, and people, I find, are very open to those connections, because we realise that we need each other, that we're really very much interconnected. So I'd like just to mention another project that Ulster University is involved in, which is Epic Futures NI, which is to basically find the hidden unemployed in Northern Ireland. We've got about 10% of our workforce are hidden unemployed, so can work but aren't working and want to work, and to try and identify what's going on there, what are the obstacles for people, and then can we face those challenges and create opportunities for those people to work. And we're delighted to be part of that. Do you see yourselves as part of that Epic Future?
I think we absolutely do. Looking at your business, it's very easy. People always want to know, are you doing well? Are you making profit? And I always say, well, that takes a wee while longer than you'd imagine. But for me, the business is achieving lots of other things that are important. One of them is sustainable employment. It's providing paid employment. It's providing government training scheme employment. It's providing volunteer experiences. And I think that for me really matters. We see lots of different people coming through our doors who are interested in connecting with us, whether it's through a child who needs some work experience through school or college, whether it's a young person who has confidence issues and maybe isn't at school at the moment and needs somewhere to be in public, but in a place that's supportive. And I think, you know, that whole thing about creating stepping stones for people into employment is sometimes seen as charitable. I tend to take it as a view of enlightened self-interest. You know, I don't want the people who work with us to feel like that's how we see it. I see it as, what does this business need? How can we work with the skills and the people who want to be involved, whether they want to be volunteers or paid employees? And we have lots of people, for example, who volunteer their business skills to help us as directors to make good decisions in the business. There are people who volunteer their connections. Someone like Fodhla has, through the Sustainability Socials, has opened up so many different new relationships for us with people who are for us. So I think it's about being open to building a community that where people can join in at different points. Sometimes they need to join in and then they need to step back, and that's always going to be, but they'll always be part, as far as I'm concerned, of Team Sonas. We're all part of Team Sonas, and that is a rich team, and creating those spaces where we can introduce people to other businesses and say, you might want to consider working here, or we can introduce people to other opportunities that they maybe don't know exist in their city.
Yeah. And the research shows that we achieve so much more. There's so much more output and outcome from collaboration as opposed to from competition.
Yeah.
And
true.
So Sonas and the work that you do, Sarah, and the Sustainability Socials and all the different aspects of Ulster University is giving people that chance to connect and be together. And I suppose my heart is for that face-to-face experience, because of course we communicate so much more, don't we, by being physically present than, you know, on a call on the computer. So I really value that, and I really value you both as well. Thank you for sharing so much of your time time with us, and for sharing that with the students, with our fellow lecturers in Ulster University Business School, and all of our professional services staff and contractors who attended the social sustainabilities, to be social, to meet each other, to meet you, but also to hear about what you're doing, and then to bring that out into our community. So I'm really thankful for that.
Oh, it was an absolute pleasure to be part of the sustainability socials, and just I want to kind of backtrack a wee bit, if that's okay, in terms of what Julie had said and how Sonas would tie into Epic Futures. And the only thing that I could do is emulate exactly what Julie has said about Sonas, because that is the epitome of social value and what we do. And it was really great to get your perspective in terms of, everybody is at a different place in their journey. They may need that confidence building, and that's where programs that I would be able to deliver in collaboration with other organizations as well. And if we help you get a job, that's really important. Because look, I mainly work in construction, and there's other industries, maintenance and different things, but at the end of the day, those kind of jobs aren't for everyone, and you need to do what suits yourself. So you do, and coming to a construction site, they might realise this is what I really want to do, and this is going to open so many doors and it'd be amazing, or absolutely not a chance are they getting me to do that again. But it's given that real life experience, isn't it? And really understanding where people are in their journeys. And just as long as you kind of extend that hand out and take them along that little bit further, or if you could take them along right to the end, that is the goal. But it's just all about the people, the community, and making sure that you leave a positive, lasting legacy. And I always go back to thinking about, those wee bright-eyed faces looking up at you in a workshop, or even with the older generation, who have been unemployed, and think, I can do this. And it might be the first time that they have actually thought, somebody believes in me. And I've been lucky enough that I know, and I've always known that I've been believed in, and that's why I was able to take that leap of faith. But there's a lot of people out there that don't necessarily have that sense of community around them. So it's really important that we as businesses, and in the work that we do, that we build that community up.
And notice as well that that's not much as we have an online presence, we're not doing that online. We're doing that person to person, face to face, hand to hand, because of the value of the learning through osmosis, by being in the presence of somebody, by listening to somebody, and by absorbing, what they're sharing, and what we all want to be expert learners. There's opportunities for us to learn all of the time, and so often, if we have very busy lifestyles, this reduces our opportunity to reflect. And this is one of the things I'm particularly enjoying from here, is an opportunity to reflect on our sustainability socials. And do they sustain people socially? I'm hearing certainly that might happen on a business level. But also, one of the joys for me back at university was there were people who I had never met, but I had been dealing with for years, who maybe had come on board during COVID, that I got to meet for the first time, and also got to witness colleagues who had moved departments, or others who hadn't met new colleagues, and meeting for the first time, and then coming back week after week because of the enjoyment. So that's what my heart as well is, to encourage people to come back post-COVID, and to come back and meet people. Julie, just there's something else as well. When I visit the cafe, I love having a look around your non-food products. And one of the ones that we were totally blown away with at your sustainability social was the baby grow. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so that's from a company called Lily Loves, which is run by the amazing Kathy. So she is a local person who creates a product that I think is excellent in so many ways. She uses organic cottons, she uses prints that are printed with non-toxic dyes. She has stamps rather than labels so that they're not scratchy. These clothes grow with the children, so you can buy trousers that fit them from when they're 3 months to when they're 12 months, or from when they're 1 year to 3 years. And it's so ingenious. So they have ruching down the side, which can be released as the child grows, cuffs that can be turned up and down, and poppers on the top that allow it to get longer as the child gets longer. Such beautiful things, but so thoughtful and mindful in terms of waste. So the offcuts are made into face cloths and face wipes and lovely teethers and bibs, and these are heirloom quality, lovely products, very reasonably priced. You can buy them in our shop. You can get a gift that will just be lovely for a grandchild, and can be passed down through the various grandchildren because of the way that they're made. They last. We love that product. So yes, look them up, Lily Loves, and come and see us at Sonas Lisburn. We're open Wednesday to Saturday, 10 till 4.
I think there's something very interesting about the human race in that we love to birth things.
Yes.
We love to create things, and your shop is a showcase of creation of so many.
It's an incubator.
It's an incubator,
Yeah.
like Ulster Bank Accelerator, and there's so many incubation businesses, that can help smaller businesses, fledgling businesses come alive. And you both have created and birthed these wonderful businesses, a consultancy and the refill shop cafe, and which was in the place of a former grocer's, and keeping that heritage alive, which I think is really beautiful. So I would love to end with asking you both a question, which is, if you have a message to give to those who are listening today, what might that message be?
I think the key thing that I would want to say is get out of your home and walk around. Don't feel like you need to have anything organised. It's just so good to get out and walk. We know that walking in nature really helps us. We know that meeting people and smiling at people, and we know that little interactions with people really matter. If you come into our shop, you'll be made welcome, but you won't be put under pressure to buy anything, and you're more than welcome just to come in for a chat. And we just feel like it's really important to remind people that there's something special about connection, and there's something special about the place that you live. And we want you to speak well of that place. And if you don't have any good stories to tell about the place that you live, go meet some people who can help you imagine those stories. Not just imagine them, but tell you them, because they're all there for the telling. It's just that we have to find our way through. And we know that it takes a lot of courage sometimes to do that. But there's richness and there's reward in that. And we just want to see more people recognize that actually they can be the change that they want to see, and they can bring that purpose and that enjoyment to everyday life through good food and connection.
Thank you. Beautiful, Julie. Thank you. And Sarah?
My one key piece of advice is, that you can be whatever you want to be. And it's just about having that little bit of self-belief and putting one foot in front of the other. Don't ever put yourself down. And that's something in the past that I would have found myself doing. And it took a lot of inner work. And that's why I became so passionate about the health and well-being element. And to be honest, a lot of my workshops and accreditations and everything else that I have in that remit stemmed from self-help, of what can I do that will help myself to help others. So really, what I want you to do today is just one thing that makes you happy. And don't say, I can't, because you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Looking after people and planet is everyone's responsibility, including your good selves. Today, we have watched and listened and learned from two amazing women and the work that they are doing in this area of social sustainability. We often hear so much about environmental sustainability, but the social, the people, is as important. No point in having a planet if we don't have the people on it. So thank you so much to Julie and to Sarah for sharing their experiences, their stories, their growth. I'd like to invite you back to watch our next episode with another 3 businesses, and we're going to learn together more about looking after our people and our planet. Thank you.